So GenAI has introduced a new wave of interacting with a complex system. Normally IoT system collect millions of data, and it's difficult to make a business decision and extract value from this data. GenAI has a natural language interface, so that means I can talk with the system in plain English or in plain language without being an IT expert, without being a data analyst, and extract information for this massive amount of data produced by IoT devices in a very much quicker and much simpler way than it used to be in the past with traditional mechanism. In terms of developing a new IoT device that takes advantage of GenAI, GenAI will push the adoption of much more powerful microprocessor into the device in a way the device can do their function without necessarily being connected to the internet like they have to be now to take advantage of GenAI. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't use the past in this case because this obstacle and these challenges will become more and more realistic in the near future because GenAI is still in development and it will develop very fast in the next 2-3 years. And nobody knows exactly where it will lead at the moment. But the main obstacle is for the adoption is the part of work that you have to do to customize a GenAI foundation model. You normally, if you use open source applications like ChatGPT, for example, your knowledge and your expertise that you are trying to feed the model with in order to customize the model will go back into the open source world, and that will expose your IP, and then it will expose your intellectual property, and it will expose also the data that you use to train the model, and you don't want to do that. So this is a very important aspect. For example, in AWS, we did this new service that we have Bedrock. We ensure that all the open source part is first transferred in your local account, and all the training data remains in your account, and the result of the training will also remain in your account. It will be totally separated from the other user using the same service. GenAI key success factor is essentially that is introducing a very natural way to interact with complex system like IT systems. Normally you have databases, you have data lakes where there are gigabytes of data stored, and you using a natural language interface, it allows you to take advantage of all the information that is in your company, in your infrastructure, without knowing anything about database, without knowing even what is the exact content of your database. You can just use your natural language and inquiry the system. And that is like we saw in 2001, Space Odyssey becoming reality. I mean, HAL 9001, he was doing essentially what we do now with foundation model. The astronaut was talking in natural language to the computer, to the board computer, and the board computer was responding in natural language. And this is the big step forward, and this is a big revolution. We don't know even how these things will evolve in the next 2-3 years, because it has been so fast happening in the last 6-7 months, and maybe what we are talking now in 2 years will be obsolete. As I said, GenAI is having an exponential growth, and in a very short time, it has been already taking the world as a storm. So it is honestly, nobody knows what will happen in the next foreseeable future, but the key technology certainly that has to be adopted in a way to take advantage of GenAI as of now is to move your data and your processing to the cloud, because GenAI uses foundation models which are deep neural network, which require a lot of computational power, and you cannot have that computational power locally in your IT department, because the amount of computing processing that it's needed to elaborate the questions that you ask to the GenAI prompt are by far out of the reach of, and the amount of data that you are collecting and that you need to collect to train a foundation model is going to explode and to be too big to be stored on a local center. So the key factor to take advantage of AI now and in the next foreseeable future is to move the infrastructure and the data storage to the cloud. And I'm not talking because I work for Amazon Web Services, but I think that's the key factor. Well, as I said in the previous question, there is a change of mindset that is needed at several levels in the companies, which I see particularly here in Germany. I would say, based on my experience, that everyone is worried about data security and about the data being not in your computer and being on the cloud somewhere in some place where everyone can have access to it. And this is a big challenge in terms of changing the mindset of the people, because as I said, without moving the data, without using the cloud, GenAI cannot be, you cannot take advantage of it. So this is a big challenge, security and privacy of the data. Of course, there are ways and technologies that, like, as I said, Amazon Bedrock takes care of separating what is a public source, open source, and what is your own data, your own IP. The other organization change that is required is in the expertise of the people that will have to take advantage or to program GenAI models in a way that can be adapted to a specific domain, to a specific topic. So before, you had data analysts, you had programmers that had to write code or to analyze the data and make produce a business value out of the data by producing new software solution. Now the programmer is not needed anymore, or meaning that the programmer has to do a different work, which is taking a foundation model and then feed the right information to the foundation model in a way that it will be adaptable to respond to a very specific domain of expertise. And so this is a very different programming work, so to speak. And this is certainly a big change in the industry, in the traditional IT industry, I must say.